Good afternoon and welcome to Bradenton Kiwanis. I am Neil Unruh, your president, and welcome to all of our guests. At this time, I don't even have a prayer. Andy, you're going to be doing our invocation in just a second, and then join us in the pledge as well as singing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Andy?
Will you pray with me, please? Dear Lord Jesus, thank you so much for the gathering of men and women for the Bradenton Kiwanis Club today. Thank you for the joyous Easter season and the blessings of your Son. Let us always be mindful of our job here as Kiwanis to make the community better and to always keep children in mind. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you all may be seated. We'll have a few announcements before we break for a short time before our program. Community service, Mike Bear. Anywhere? Yep.
You want to talk about the applications for the
Sure.
SCF2? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to have a busy May. There's a few events that we can try to remember right now, or we can go to the website. We can go to Portal Bus and take a look at them. There's from May 1st through the 28th, SCF, State College of Florida Foundation, is doing scholarship reviews, and some of us have already done that for the last couple of years. That's going on, and there's some information that Mac just sent out via email to most people. And see me if you need to get it. I think it's Foundation Scholarships at scf.edu, and you can see it. I know some of you did it last year. Kids Against Hunger event is going to be May 6th. That's going to be Saturday morning up in Palmetto at the Manatee Sunrise Warehouse starting at 8 o'clock. The next weekend is the Jerry Hill Kids Fishing Tournament. That's a blast. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, but that's one of the best events ever. Every year, so please sign up for that. We still need some volunteers. And finally, I'm not sure, Neil, if I'm taking away from anybody here, but the Habitat for Humanity, the house that we started building this past year, it's going to be for Stephanie, and there's going to be a dedication on Saturday, May 20th at 10 a.m. So as many of us that can be out there and welcome the new family that's going to be moving into the house that we sponsored. It's going to be a good time. Thank you very much. Thanks, Neil.
All right, there will be a club board meeting next Wednesday. That will be at noon at Fusilli's right here off of Manatee Avenue and 6th, I believe, 606. I'm also been asked to give out the Good Morning, Good Future, Great Futures breakfast from the Boys and Girls Club, recognizing Jaden, who was here speaking a few weeks ago. They're also going to be doing the following, inducting our own Gene Brown into the Alumni Hall of Fame. So give him a round of applause. As well as NDC Construction will be honored as the Community Partner of the Year at that. So if you can go to their breakfast, that would be great. I did put out an email that said we'd have a club vote today on some playground, but what we're going to do is we're just going to watch the concept of what that video fly-through is, so you have a better understanding. I'm going to give the foundation a little more time to figure out whether they can or cannot do anything at this time, so we'll bring that back as to when we're going to have a vote. But please look at it. This is something that we've worked long and hard on in terms of trying to design a playground that is meaningful and inclusive for everyone out there. And we think it's been a pretty neat process, and we think we've come up with a pretty good plan as we go forward. So it has structures for 5 to 12-year-olds as well as 2 to 5-year-olds. It has a whole set of swings out to one side. You'll notice it also has 2 zip lines, one that is inclusive, that of all abilities can get on as well. Many of the features within the playground structures are allowable so that people with autism or any other type of learning disability will be able to utilize different aspects of the playground. We've gone through the price. The total price is around $780,000 to $800,000 right now. So a lot better than the $1.8 million that we brought at the gala. So we reduced that down, and we've got different ideas of payments that would come forward through the Florida Foundation, providing grants to us, additional fundraising that we might do here as a club, and many other potential grants that we've been made aware of that we'll be applying for over the next few months to help fund this. The reason that we were going to bring this to you is to get this project started. The county's mandates are that you have full funding in place before you start. So we're trying to get that full funding in place so they can start this project versus us fundraising for months and months, and then it's a year down the line before we've even gotten this into place. We'd like this to happen during our 100th year and continue to make the impact to all the kids. So if you have questions, anybody on the playground committee that is here today? Ron is here, and Susan's here. If you have any questions, it's been a great process to work forward. If you have some questions, either during the break or afterwards, please go up and see any of them, and they can answer any questions for you about how we've gotten to this point. At this point, I'm going to get some water, and we're going to take a little break before we start the program. Welcome back, everybody. At this time, I'll have Rita Smith come up and introduce our guests.
Good afternoon. So, our special guest, when I read your name, please stand so we can give you a warm Kiwanis welcome. Our first guest is Scott May. Hey, Scott. Pat Simmons. Becky Cummins. Guest Brian Shin. Brian Wilson. Luke Weller. Shirley Pearson. Jay Ellis. Thank you. Kristen, and that's it. And Rachel Spivey. Thank you all for attending today, and welcome.
All right, thanks very much to everyone today. We're super excited to get started with our history today, and we go through that. But first, we're going to do some trivia from last week. For those that were here, can someone please tell me, for Heather Doyle, what sport she played All right, you are the winner. Come on up. Oh. Well, so yeah, it's something good because we have a gift card to Outback Steakhouse anywhere between $15 and $500. Somewhere in there's a gift, so congratulations. All right. So this is, we're very, very excited to have with us today our history of our next president. And I'd like for you to bring a chair up front. It's already here. So Brett Pollock, please come down. All right. Yeah. We're so excited to be able to go over the history of Brett. Let's see what happened in that year that you were president so long, long ago. As we continue studying the 100th year of the Bradenton Kiwanis Club, we left off in 2018. There was an election in November, and we elected a new governor, attorney general, and a few other candidates. Locally, not too many surprises, but we're glad Carol, Misty, and Reggie were elected. What else happened during this time? Brett Pollock. On September 25th, Warner Brett Pollock was sworn in as the 2018-2019 as president of along with elected officers and directors. A professional firefighter who was used to serving others above himself, he was ready to lead the club. But how did Brett become this charismatic, caring leader who became the president of the club? Let's find out together. Brett was born in Manatee Veterans Hospital on January 25, 1961, to Jack and Josephine Pollock. His father was a legislative aide to Senator Wilbur Boyd, a realtor, and once served as the Manatee County property appraiser. Brett attended all public schools in Manatee County, including Ballard and Palmersville Elementary, Bradenton Elementary School, and Sugg Middle. As a child, he and his brother were the members of the Bradenton Boys Club and later DeSoto Boys Club. Brett was a natural athlete. He probably perfected his baseball skills at the boys' club because by the time he arrived at Manatee High School, he was a star player who could play at any position and was a powerhouse at the plate. Another hurricane for president. That is the trend, I think. If we go over the history, how many hurricanes have been president, Gilbert? Quite a few. Thanks for your exact number. Appreciate you. Brett played all 4 years in high school and was recognized many times. In 1979, Brett was recognized by the Bradenton Herald as the All-County and Sarasota Herald Tribune as an all-area first baseman. He also served as a legislative page during his session in Tallahassee, where he learned a lot about politics. But Brett also had other interests. Brett also wanted to serve his community as a firefighter. That goal became a reality in 1980 when he joined the West Side Fire Department as a volunteer. During that time, he was attending college, graduating from Manatee Junior College, at that time a Lancer, and then to Florida State University, a Seminole, demonstrating the Seminole chop. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to read that. I apologize. In 1983, Brett became a full-time firefighter, and for the next 33 years, he fought fires and rescued many people from a variety of dangerous situations. He risked his life several times, rising through the ranks. Brett served as deputy chief for 16 years before retiring in 2016. Because of Brett's expertise, he served on many statewide committees throughout his career, including developing Fire Officers Program for the state of Florida. He also graduated a degree of Fire Science Technology from MCC and a Master's of Public Administration degree from Barry University. Brett also served on the Florida Intra-Agency Incident Management Team and was deployed to many disasters in Florida and around the United States, including the Shuttle Columbia Recovery Mission in Texas, Hurricane Katrina in Mississippi, as well as Hurricane Ivan, Charlie in 2004, and the 2008 Mother's Day wildfires. And he still does that. Thank you, Brett. Brett married Vicki Edmonds, and they raised one son, Maxwell Vance Pollock. Besides being a family man and active in the club, he was always involved with many organizations in Manatee County, including the Manatee County Blood Bank, a 90-gallon plus donor. Leadership Manatee Alumni Association president. During his term as president, Brett established a better working relationship between the members of the club and the Bradenton Kiwanis Foundation. worked to complete the club's strategic plan, establishing a fundraising committee, increased membership, and watched club members have fun. Another event happened at the September 25th meeting. President-elect Bill Edwards told everyone goodbye and resigned from the club since he was retiring from his business and moving away. The governance committee made recommendations, and on October 2nd, Mike McCoy was confirmed as the president-elect and Christy Cardillo was confirmed as vice president. At that same meeting, Jeff Podoptic from the Bradenton Marauders visited and celebrating their 10th anniversary with the club. Then on October 30th, Ed Cleveland talked about the benefits and challenged coins to thank veterans for their service. On November 6th, the club hosted a Veterans Appreciation Luncheon with members Lee Washington as the keynote speaker. A special treat occurred when Janine Amick and her daughter, Marine Private First Class Hannah Witham, sang the national anthem and led the Pledge of Allegiance to a start of the meeting. Man, it was great. Then on November 13th, 2018, the Farm City Week Luncheon, farmer and businessman John Hamilton was recognized as the 2018 Agriculturalist of the Year. In 2019, texting and driving becomes illegal throughout the state of Florida. Florida amends its constitution allowing the use of medical marijuana. This new law was inspired by Manatee County resident Kathy Jordan, who smoked marijuana to relieve her symptoms from the Lou Gehrig disease. Locally, downtown Bradenton continued to change. The Oak and Stone restaurant opened on the corner of Main Street and Riverside Drive in downtown Bradenton and boasted the best views of the Manatee River from its rooftop bar and dining area. Several members were recognized by their service to Manatee County. Suey Bowie and Janine Amick were recognized by the Bradenton branch of the American Association of University Women, and Byron Shin was recognized in 2019 with the Good Scout Award. On April 27th, members of the club and others volunteered to hold Better Manatee Day at Pride Park and other locations landscaping and cleaning up areas. On April 17th, the club hosted a membership drive at Anderson Race Park. Then on May 11th, the membership turned out to volunteer and support the annual Jerry Hill Kids Fishing Tournament. At several times during the year, several volunteers turned out for the Kids Against Hungry event. Finally, members of the club participated in Every Child a Rieger program. Throughout the year, club hosted many interesting and exciting programs. The club gave grants in the amount of $202,627 to 8 organizations, which helped children. Sheriff Ricky Wells told us to lock our doors. I'm still doing that. Did you lock your doors today? Are your doors unlocked right now? The sheriff is here, so please lock your doors. Charlie Hackney told us why our property taxes kept going up. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about that. On May 7th, Steve Litcher of the Manatee County Emergency Management Department talked about hurricane preparedness. Our friend Paul Scharf talked about the success of the Early Learning Coalition. Tony Conboy with the U.S. Department of Defense ESGR program talked about helping veterans and finding jobs in the community. Finally, on August 3rd, on a rainy Saturday morning, remember that? The club sponsored the 9th annual Christmas in August event at Lecom Park to help children get ready for school. This would be the last Christmas in August event since the program is being transitioned to Hope for Communities organization. After Brett's term as president ended, he stayed involved as ever in the club, but he and Vicki made it a point to travel abroad and learn different cultures. Thank you, Brett, for all you do for your club and for the community. Bon voyage. That's it.
All right, now it is time for our guest speaker. I'm not sure I know him very well. You're going to get back at me, right? So I'll introduce our sheriff. I worked with him from the time he was elected sheriff up until about a month ago. Enjoyed working with him and helping him in everything that he has done. That campaign about locking cars is still a work in process, but we'll get there. They'll keep working on it. But he's been in law enforcement for over 35 years, and he is your sheriff since 2017. Please welcome Sheriff Rick Wells.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. First, let me say it's always a a privilege to be here, but this will be the first time that I have spoken to you as an official club member. Okay, so I've been with the North Manatee Club for about 7 years. Really enjoyed those men and women. They're hardworking people over there. We did a lot of good things throughout the community, but it's hard to get up at 7 a.m. on Friday, y'all. Not gonna lie. It's hard to get up at 7 a.m. So I finally had to take the big plunge and transfer over here to a more reasonable time. I do want to say that as I walked in last week, that I noticed some cliques in the club. First responders always look out for one another. So when I come in, my group over here, they've always welcomed me at this table. Unfortunately, Judge Heather Doyle sits at that table as well, and when she got here, all the seats were taken. So we had 2 guests. She didn't say anything at all to the guests because, I mean, they're voting, they vote. So she looked at me. She was very respectful, but she just eyeballed me as she's telling the table, I better have a spot next week. Well, this week she got here early and there was no spot. Now listen, they taught me very early in the academy 3 things, 3 very important things. Never get wet, always keep your shoes shiny, and never tick off a judge. In that order. So I'm not sitting here next week. Judge, that seat is yours. I'll sit wherever I have to. So real quick, it is true that Neil Unruh, our club president, he did leave me. He left me for another constitutional. Our clerk of the court, Andrew Colonisio. He told me all the things that people say during a breakup, you know. It wasn't me, it's him. He needed time to reflect, you know, he needed space. So we're working through it. It's still a little difficult right now, but I just want to talk to you briefly about what's going on at the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. And one thing that I always want to stress when I'm talking to the public is that anything good that I talk about that's going on with the Sheriff's Office, with the community, it's always because of the men and women that work for the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. They are outstanding, committed law enforcement officers that do their job each and every day. Anything bad that happens, that's always on me, and it's usually caused by me, so I take all that in stride. So when we talk about population, I want you to focus on, we have 579 sworn positions at the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. If any of you have been here most of your life like me, you know that that's a huge number, but based upon the population, the growth that we're seeing right now, we're about 332 deputies short. When you talk about our ratio per 1,000 should be about 2.6 deputies per 1,000, we're at about 1.6. And that the growth has been so fast, it's been hard for us to keep up. County commissioners have always been great to us, always. Current board, former boards, they've understood that, you know, law and order is important, and to bring in businesses and to bring in, you know, new residents, that you have to have low crime rates, and they've always done a good job at funding us. It's just that, I mean, look, you don't have to drive around East Manatee or North Manatee County to know that we've got some serious growth going on, so we're just trying to keep up. We answered about 364,000 calls for service last year. So roughly just a little under 1,000 calls for service per day. That's a lot. I mean, I know I don't have to tell y'all, this ain't Mayberry PD anymore. We got a lot going on in Manatee County. We're serving over 411,000 people. That's on a good day. That may be today, since a lot of the Northerners are going home. But we know that number is higher, right? I don't know if y'all can remember. If you've been here a long time, you remember about 35 years ago when the Northerners went home, how the traffic calmed down? Yeah, that's not going to happen again. That's not. Yeah, that's. We are way past that. What I am proud of is during the last 7 years, the men and women of the Manatee County Sheriff's Office have reduced crime by 41.2%, and that is amazing. We continue to concentrate on violent crime. So we're down in violent crime, and our focus has been with our partners with ATF and also the FBI and task force, and making sure that felons are not carrying guns in our community. So when you see gun violence in Manatee County, I can guarantee you that 99.999% of the time, it's a felon with a gun. That's what we deal with the most. So we try to attack that problem and get those guns off the streets before they're used in a crime. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we are not. But we're going to do our best to try to make sure that the only people carrying guns in Manatee County are lawful gun owners. And that's not always an easy job. I am going to talk about locking your car doors. I want you to understand that is the biggest problem that I deal with each and every day. So I want you to know, I start my day about 5:30 every morning. I get up about 5:30 so I can see my young son off, start reading emails, and that's if I didn't get a call during the night. And we start fighting crime at 5:30 in the morning, trying to prevent, trying to solve, trying to do what we can to be proactive. So when I see vehicle burglars in the middle of the night, it aggravates me because a criminal needs the desire, the ability, and the opportunity to commit a crime, right? We can't do much about their desire. We can't do too much about their ability, but we can limit the opportunities they have. And car burglaries are something that we can control. And that's what bothers me the most is that people are so busy, and I get it. Like we all have a lot going on. But they get out of their car at night, they leave their wallet, their purses, their ID, their guns inside of these vehicles, and they don't lock them. They also, and I don't know when this started, because my dad told me this a long time ago, don't leave your keys in your car. They leave their keys in their vehicle. So we make it easy for the criminals. Ring videos and video cameras in general have been a great tool for us. I can tell you, you've all seen it, I can tell you exactly what these criminals do. They just walk down our street and check door handles. That's all they do. And when they find an unlocked vehicle, they're going to go inside and they're going to spend about 10 seconds in there real quick and get out and move on to the next vehicle. So, if you could tell your neighbors and your family, your mama and your daddy, grandmas and grandpas, just tell them the importance of locking their vehicles anytime they're not in it. Because it doesn't have to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, y'all. It can be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We have to be careful about what we're leaving in our vehicles. It's very important that we try to do something to eliminate these car thefts. It's not just Manatee County; it's all over. And what they do, we have a great partnership with Pinellas County SO and St. Pete PD. We know that criminals come from Pinellas County in a stolen vehicle. They'll come into our neighborhoods. They will break into as many vehicles as they can. They'll find a vehicle with keys, so they'll leave the stolen car that they stole from Pinellas County and then go back to Pinellas County in a Manatee County stolen vehicle. So what we started doing last year, we started to put license plate readers around the Skyway so we could catch them coming off the Skyway. And we were very successful. think we had 4 pursuits in one day because we surprised them. So we just started to push them to Hillsborough County. We pushed him. Sheriff Naco and Sheriff Chronister hated me for about 6 months. I said, well, y'all need to get some license plate readers over there. So we just pushed them north, and we continue to do that. But that is something that we really have to get better on. When I look back at, when was that, Brett, when you were president? When was that? I'm still talking about it. It hasn't gotten any better. So we just gotta do what we can on that. Here's the problem, the biggest problem that I see now. Juveniles are committing a lot of these vehicle burglaries. Juveniles are stealing these guns from these vehicles. The difference between these juveniles now compared to 37, 38 years ago when I started is these juveniles use these guns. Juvenile violence is up. We've seen a huge increase, not only in Manatee, but throughout the country. They're using these guns to commit crime, and they're not afraid to use them. So if you paid attention to what happened in Marion County just last week, where 3 young kids were killed, one by a 12-year-old. I haven't talked to Sheriff Billy Woods. I'll talk to him here in a few weeks, but I guarantee you that those guns that were used in that horrific crime were stolen. I'm all about trying to take care of juveniles. We have one of the highest percentages in the state when it comes to juvenile civil citations, because I do believe that juveniles that commit minor crimes need to have a second chance. We need to take care of them. We need to keep that record off of them. I don't want them to be impacted in any way when they try to get a job later on, when they try to go to college, because a lot of them will change. A lot of them will not. I've never in my career, and I've been doing this a long time, seen the amount of violence that we are seeing now with juveniles. We've had 3 homicides just in Manatee County that were either committed by a juvenile or the juvenile was the victim. So we're doing our best. It's going to be a community effort. I tell people this all the time. We have great teachers in our schools that mentor young kids, that spend time with them. When these kids get out of school, a lot of times they're in youth sports, great coaches. Maybe they're being mentored at boys clubs or Palmetto Youth Center or wherever. When they get home, it's all over because they don't have that parental guidance. They don't have that family structure that all of us had. So everything that was good throughout the day now is not being addressed once they get home. And that's what we see as a big problem on the law enforcement side. We see parents not being parents. Maybe they're too young, maybe they have the kids too young, but kids are coming home and they're just basically left to do whatever by themselves. And a lot of times they're not doing the right thing. So we're going to continue to do our part. That's what's so great about Kiwanis, right? I mean, we do a lot of work in the community. Let me tell you, it's impactful. Don't ever think that it's not. We focus a lot on addiction. I have a big heart for those that are addicted to narcotics. I think we can help them. I think there's a lot of work that has to go into making it easier for us as a community to help them. We don't have enough. Centerstone can't do it by themselves, but I have no sympathy for drug dealers. Drug dealers in Manatee County and elsewhere, they know that fentanyl is killing people, and they will sell fentanyl to them anyway. They do not care. So I have no sympathy for them, and if I can lock them up for 20 plus, I would, because they are responsible for what's going on out here. If we didn't have Narcan, we would have people dying every day in our county. But Narcan is saving them because deputies have it, EMS has them, just common citizens have Narcan now, and it's helping. But there are new drugs that are coming through our community. You saw the Florida Attorney General talking about it last week, that Narcan will not help. And that's going to be a deadly combination in our country if Narcan will not offset the effects of an overdose. So I'm going to leave you with that happy piece of news and answer any questions that you may have. Yes, sir. Well, I'll be completely honest with you. Backgrounds don't keep guns out of the hands of felons because they don't wait for a background check. Felons steal guns. Felons steal guns or they buy guns on the street. So they don't have a 3-day cooling off period like you and I do. So they're not ever going to get their guns legally because they can't. Because they're already a convicted felon and they are not lawfully able to carry a gun. But that doesn't stop them. Yes, ma'am. How are you? Good. Yes, ma'am. So we made the decision a couple years ago that we needed to step up and be responsible for doing whatever we could to help the homeless in our community. And I don't want to be disrespectful to any other organization. I didn't see their needs being met, and we always get the calls to go out and deal with a complaint involving a homeless person. So I put Joy Jewett in charge, and now I have Becky Willman, and we put them in charge of just trying to take care of the needs of the homeless population each and every day. And we have 10 hotbeds right now at the Salvation Army. So if we have someone that's on the street and they want a bed, because it's very hard to get a bed at the Salvation Army if you just show up, they're not available. So if they truly want to enter our program and they want to change and they want to accept the services that we are providing, we can put them in a bed. I just asked one of the commissioners 2 days ago for $1 million from that opioid money. I want to start a hot team. I want a team of deputies, civilians, caseworkers, therapists, all working together to attack this problem and try to help those that we can that really want to help. Some do. And I don't want you to think that it's only addicts out here that are homeless. It's not. We have families out here. We have families living in vehicles. And we're trying to help them as well. So we're doing our part. Hopefully we can increase and do better. Yes, sir. They will cologne. There are some, I'll call them the elite criminals that can do that. But you also have to remember a lot of times, and we've seen this happen a few times, if your remote, if you have a push start vehicle, if your remote is too close to your vehicle and they can get in, and if they push the button, it may still start, right? Right? It can't be too close to the vehicle. Now, once they stop it, they won't be able to start it again, but they'll have one heck of a ride until they figure that out. So you got to be careful with that too. So we haven't seen a lot of the cloning. What we've seen is just vehicles and keys too close together. Yeah. Any more questions? Yes, sir. Well, first of all, that's what you just described. We don't see a lot of those, but that's a scammer, right? We have, I would say just rough number that, 95% of what we deal with are true homeless people. There are those that just go to a corner. We were talking about that earlier. They just kind of go out there and try to make a living. But we have an ordinance in Manatee County. They can stand out there on the public right-of-way, on the sidewalk, and they can ask for money. They just can't be in the streets, can't be in the median, which they still do. But we try to educate them to keep them out of the median. Yes, sir. I think we are, John. I think there's just too many of them. I don't think that we get to enough. If you go back to, coaching football and just coaching sports, and, we used to go pick these young men up, right? Because they couldn't get to practice or they couldn't get to the game. So they always had a lot of good mentors around them. I think that it's easy for them to get involved with the bad crowd a lot quicker than we can get to them. And that's what we're seeing as they start to follow a lot earlier now. I mean, 12-year-olds, and 12 years old, you pulled the trigger and killed somebody, I mean, your life is over. So I think we just have a lot more out here than we're able to impact. And that's the sad part of it. Yes, ma'am. Right, so a very important organization. We have not seen the increase in human trafficking that some of the other counties have. We work with Hillsborough County, they've seen an increase, and I'm sure down south, I know. We haven't seen that. We've only had maybe 2 true human trafficking cases in the last 10 years. What we're seeing is just a lot of young women who have no support whatsoever that are out here prostituting. So that's bad as well. And we do a lot of work with them as well, trying to help them. You pulling the plug? We have
questions, so I'm pulling it.
All right. Thank y'all. God bless. Thank y'all.
And we always traditionally give the golden ruler, but he's gotten too many of those. So we're going to provide him with our 100th anniversary coin. And thank you very much for everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Neil. Yep.
So again, thank you to Sheriff for a great program today. Thank you to Brett for being a great sport and being our president. Thank you to all of our guests. We hope you'll come back soon. We got great programs every week. Next week we will have Charles Vonderheide from the Boy Scouts that will give us an update on the grants that we gave him this past year. So everybody have a great week, and we'll see you here next Tuesday.